Hey guys, this is Sports with Dylan. NHL preseason has now started, which means the NHL regular season is just around the corner. So I figured I would release my video of all 32 NHL starting goalies ranked. What can I say? It's the Coyotes. I didn't even know who Karel Veljamelka was before he became the Coyotes starter. So, good luck to them. There once was a time when Craig Anderson was mediocre. Now he's in his 40s. He is no longer a capable NHL goalie. I do not know why the Sabres have clung on to him. Elvis Merzklins, I'm sorry if I pronounced that wrong, and I probably didn't have a bad season last year. But it wasn't amazing either. And he still needs to prove to me that he can be a consistent goalie. He's not going to have one game that's amazing, but then fall off a cliff for the next. Last season, Vitek Vanecek split duties with Ilya Samsonov on the Capitals. And neither of them fared very well. Now Vitek Vanecek is competing with Mackenzie Blackwood for the starting role. But he has an advantage because the Devils don't hate him yet. Jeremy Swayman had a really good rookie season last year. He managed to hold off Linus Ullmark for the starting role. And I expect him to improve even more this season. But for now, he's still got to be ranked towards the back of the rankings. Peter Mirzek did not have a very good season last year. It was injury-riddled, and even when he was on the ice, he clearly wasn't his full self. Hopefully this year he can turn things around with a terrible Blackhawks team. Most people presume Matt Murray to be the starter in Toronto, but I believe that Ilya Samsonov gets the edge. I already mentioned he did not fare great in Washington last year, but Matt Murray didn't fare well in Ottawa either, so it's a battle of the people who did not fare well last year. James Reimer had an amazing resurgence last year to start off the season. Then he slowly slid back into mediocrity. If I were the Sharks, I'd trade him before age fully hits him. After the Senators got rid of Matt Murray, they decided to upgrade in getting Hellebuck. He's not a bad goalie, but he's not amazing. He's not going to do any great things for your team, but he's not going to play downright terrible either. Jonathan Quick played pretty well last season. He didn't play amazing or anything, but he wouldn't lose games for his team, and that's really what's important in a goalie. Alexander Georgiev was the backup to Igor Shesterkin last season, and he played really well in that backup role, which meant the Avalanche decided to take a chance on him and make him their starter. Oh look, another backup who became a starter. Phil Husso went from completely unknown to the Blues starter in the time of a couple months. Then Jordan Bennington took the job back, then he took the job back, and then Jordan Bennington took the job back again. The Blues decided to stick with Bennington this season, and Phil Husso got traded away to the Red Wings. Now he can truly be the unannounced starter. It will be very fun to see what he can do. Sergei Bobrovsky isn't actually that bad. The biggest knock on him is his terrible contract that is way too expensive for him. And it's only a matter of time that he gets taken over by Spencer Knight as the starter. Philip Grubauer, in my mind, is the definition of average. It's not bad, not great. If he's on a good team, he'll play well. If he's on a bad team, he won't play as well, but he's mediocre. Carey Price is going to miss another entire season due to injury. That's not very good. When he was on the ice last, he played very well. He led his team to the Stanley Cup Finals, but since then he hasn't played, and that is not a very good sign for Carey Price. This could be the end of his career. A couple years ago, Jordan Bennington was the Blues' star goalie who took them to the Stanley Cup Finals, and they won! Now Jordan Bennington's the goalie who lost his job to an unknown backup. Yes, he took it back, but he's not the same Jordan Bennington we saw when they won the Stanley Cup. Hopefully, though, he can make a resurgence this year. Carter Hart has tons of potential, and yet he can't do anything on a Flyers team. Now, I'm not going to entirely blame him, given that the Flyers roster is terrible all around, so you can't expect him to make much of it with that defense. But at the same time, he could at least play a bit better. John Gibson is a great goalie on a terrible team, which means his stats get lowered significantly. There were rumors that he wanted to trade this offseason, and it made tons of sense, because then he could be on a truly good team, a contender. But then he decided to veto a trade to the Maple Leafs, which, if you ask me, is a terrible idea, because the Maple Leafs are a Stanley Cup contender, and they didn't have a goalie at the time. But now it seems like he's stuck in Anaheim. Thatcher Demko is a young and upcoming goalie. There's nothing not to like about him, but he still has a ways to go before he cracks the top 10. As an Oilers fan, you do not know how happy I am that we finally got a quality goalie on our team. Hopefully this is the year the Oilers can win the Stanley Cup. When on the ice, Frederick Anderson is easily a top 10 goalie. Some would even argue top 5. The problem is, he isn't on the ice that often anymore. He has major injury issues, which means that he misses plenty of time and becomes a liability on his team. Tristan Jarry has quietly grown into an amazing goalie now that Marc-Andre Fleury and Matt Murray have left. If this rankings was based on playoff performances alone, Jake Ottinger would be at the top by far. He played absolutely amazing in the playoffs. Just lights out. It was crazy the saves he was making. Him and Markstrom were both playing absolutely amazing. Now that Ben Bishop is retired and Anton Khudobin is recovering from injury, he should play even better this season without Braden Holtby. Marc-Andre Fleury was traded for by the Wild mid-season, and it was a much-needed improvement. He played amazing. The whole Wild team, it just brought life into that team. That whole team started playing amazing as soon as Fleury arrived. So they decided to keep him for another 2 years. Sadly for Golden Knights fans, Robin Leonard is going to miss the whole 2022-2023 season. But that leaves plenty of opportunity for Logan Thompson to become an amazing goalie as well. Darcy Kemper helped the Avalanche win the Stanley Cup. Now he is on a new team in the Washington Capitals, and it will be very interesting to see if he can replicate his success. When Pekka Ryan retired, I felt bad for the Predators because they likely weren't going to get a star goalie like that for a very long time. And boy was I wrong, because they already have one in Juuse Saros. Jacob Markstrom played extremely well the whole season, and the first round of the playoffs, he was the second best goalie in the whole playoffs. Then he fell off a cliff against the Oilers. That whole team didn't play great, but at least the rest of the team played fine. Markstrom couldn't make a save for the life of him. I mean, Mike Smith outplayed Jacob Markstrom that round. Hopefully, though, Jacob Markstrom can return to his regular season form. Connor Hellebuck had a down year, but I'm not going to hold that completely against him because the entire Jets team did. And if you look at Connor Hellebuck's 2020-21 season, then he played amazing. So you cannot take that away from him. Even if he has one down season, I'm sure he'll be back soon. This time last year, Semion Varmalov was the starter in New York, for the Islanders, obviously. But then, Ilya Sorokin came out of nowhere, took the job from Varmalov, and never looked back. He played amazing, and he should play even better this season. We've all just been waiting for Igor Shesterkin to break out for about 5 years now. And he did, finally. And he played amazing, winning the Vezina trophy and all. But I can't put him ahead of this next guy. What can I say? I still view Andrei Vasilevskiy as the best goalie in the world. He is just an absolute superstar. He helped his team make the Stanley Cup again. So even if Igor Shesterkin won the Vezina, Andrei Vasilevskiy is still the better goalie. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys again soon with a new video.